My dear brothers and sisters, today I want to speak about something so simple, yet so profound, something that can change your life entirely if you let it. And that is one single verse from the Qur'an, one scripture that, if you truly understand it and implement it in your life, will transform your heart, your mind, and your entire way of living. Life, as we know, is full of challenges. Sometimes it feels like everything is against us. We have worries about our work, about our family, about our health. We have fears, anxieties, doubts, and sometimes even hopelessness creeps into our hearts. And yet Allah, in His infinite wisdom, has given us guidance, a guide that never fails, a light that never fades. And within that guide, there is one verse that stands out because it encapsulates so much hope, so much reassurance, and so much strength. The verse says, "So truly, with hardship, there is relief." Surah Ash-Shar 94-6. I want you to stop for a moment and reflect on this. Allah is telling us every difficulty, every hardship is accompanied by ease. Every trial has a relief. Every struggle has a solution. Every moment of darkness has a light waiting for you. And this is not just for some people, it is for all of us, no matter who we are, no matter where we are in life. Sometimes we look at our problems and we feel overwhelmed. Sometimes we say, my problem is too big, my burden is too heavy, I cannot handle this. But Allah, in His mercy, reminds us that relief is already on the way. You might not see it immediately, but just like the dawn follows the darkest part of the night, ease will follow hardship. And here is the key: patience and trust in Allah. You see, patience is not just sitting and waiting. Patience is trusting Allah while you are in the storm. Patience is acting in a way that pleases Allah, even when life seems unfair. Patience is knowing that no matter how heavy your burden feels, there is a promise from Allah that relief will come. And if you combine patience with prayer, with reliance on Allah, and with gratitude for what you already have, then this one verse becomes alive in your heart. It becomes a living reality, a source of strength that carries you through the toughest times. Let me remind you of something very important. Relief is not always instant, but it is guaranteed. Sometimes Allah tests us not to punish us, but to elevate us, to prepare us for something greater. Sometimes He delays the relief because He wants to see our faith, our resilience, our reliance upon Him. And when relief finally comes, you will realize that the struggle itself had a purpose, and it shaped you into a better, stronger, wiser person. My dear brothers and sisters, reflect on the power of this verse. If you truly believe it, if you truly internalize it, it will change your perspective. You will no longer see difficulties as the end of the road. You will see them as a stepping stone, as a path towards something greater. You will learn to smile even in the midst of trials because you know that relief is coming. You will learn to thank Allah for your hardships because they bring you closer to Him. They strengthen your character and they remind you of His mercy. I encourage you today to memorize this verse, to repeat it to yourself every morning and every night. So truly with hardship there is relief. Let it be your mantra, your anchor, your source of hope. When you face difficulties at work, in your family, in your health, or in your personal life, remember this verse. Let it remind you that Allah is with you, that He has not forgotten you, and that ease will come. And finally, my dear brothers and sisters, share this message with others. There are so many people around us who are struggling silently, who are feeling hopeless, who do not know that relief is coming. Sometimes You might be the vessel through which Allah delivers comfort to someone else. Sometimes your smile, your kind word, or your reminder of this one verse can change someone's life entirely. Absolutely. Here's an expanded version of keynote, no one. In about 800 words in the same style. Every hardship is accompanied by relief. Understanding this verse brings hope. My dear brothers and sisters, life is full of challenges. No one is exempt from difficulties, from struggles, from trials that test our patience and our faith. Sometimes it feels like the weight of the world is upon us, as if there is no escape, no solution, no light at the end of the tunnel. We may face problems in our relationships, in our health, in our work, or even in our personal goals and aspirations. Sometimes the burden can feel overwhelming, and it is easy to lose hope, to feel despair, and to question why these difficulties have come upon us. And yet, Allah, in His infinite wisdom and mercy, reminds us through His word that no hardship exists without relief. That is a profound truth that can change the way we see our entire lives. The verse says, "So truly with hardship there is relief." These words are not just poetic expressions. They are a divine promise, a guarantee from the Most Merciful that no matter how heavy our burden may feel, relief is already on its way. Understanding this verse requires us to recognize the nature of life itself. Life is not meant to be a straight path of comfort and ease. Trials and difficulties are a part of the human experience. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, allows challenges to come into our lives, not to punish us, but to test our faith, to develop our character, and to bring us closer to Him. When we understand that hardship is a part of the journey, we begin to see our struggles differently. We start to view them as opportunities, as lessons, and as stepping stones rather than obstacles. We realize that every challenge has a purpose, even if we cannot see it immediately, and that relief is a part of that divine plan. Relief does not always come in the way we expect. Sometimes it arrives quickly, almost immediately, and other times it may take longer than we hope. But the certainty is in the promise itself. The verse does not say, perhaps or maybe there will be relief. It says, truly there is relief. This teaches us that we must hold on to hope even when the situation seems impossible, even when we feel weak, overwhelmed, or alone. Hope is the key that unlocks the power of this verse. When we believe in the certainty of relief, we approach life's difficulties with courage rather than fear, with patience rather than frustration, and with faith rather than despair. To truly embrace this verse, we must also cultivate patience and trust in Allah. Patience is not merely sitting idly and waiting for problems to pass. It is an active, conscious effort to remain steadfast, to continue doing what is right, to maintain our prayers, our supplications, and our reliance on Allah, even in the midst of trials. Patience is a form of worship, a demonstration of faith, and a way to align ourselves with the divine promise of relief. It is through patience that we endure hardships without losing hope, without giving in to anger or despair, and without allowing negativity to dominate our hearts. Trust in Allah, coupled with patience, creates a mindset that allows us to navigate life's storms with resilience and grace. Another aspect of understanding this verse is realizing that relief may not always be immediate or obvious. Sometimes Allah allows difficulties to remain for a period of time to refine our character, to teach us lessons that we could not learn otherwise, or to prepare us for something greater. This requires us to see beyond the present moment, to look at the bigger picture, and to believe in Allah's wisdom and timing. When we trust that relief is coming, even when we cannot see it, we are empowered to keep moving forward, to keep striving, and to keep holding on to our faith. It is also important to internalize this verse, to allow it to live in our hearts and shape our thoughts. Repeating it, reflecting upon it, and applying it in daily life can transform our perspective. Instead of seeing hardships as insurmountable problems, we begin to see them as temporary challenges that are accompanied by relief. This change in mindset brings peace to the heart, clarity to the mind, and a sense of purpose to our actions. It reminds us that no matter how difficult life becomes, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel, a solution waiting to be revealed, and a mercy from Allah ready to be received. When we understand that every hardship is accompanied by relief, we are also better able to empathize with others. We recognize that everyone faces trials, and we become more compassionate, patient, and supportive. We can remind ourselves and others of this divine promise, providing comfort and hope to those who are struggling. Sharing this understanding can strengthen communities, deepen relationships, and create a network of support where people uplift one another through faith, encouragement, and kindness. In our daily lives, this understanding encourages us to approach difficulties with gratitude rather than resentment. Gratitude does not mean ignoring the challenges we face. It means acknowledging them while recognizing the presence of relief and mercy. It allows us to maintain a positive outlook, to keep striving, and to remain hopeful even in the darkest times. Gratitude combined with faith and patience transforms the experience of hardship into an opportunity for growth, spiritual development, and a closer connection to Allah. Certainly, here's an expanded version of keynote, no, to, in about 800 words. Patience and trust in Allah transform trials into sources of strength. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the most powerful tools that Allah has given us to face the challenges of life is the combination of patience, known as times Sabr *, and trust, known as times Tawakkul *. These two qualities, when cultivated together, allow us not only to endure hardships, but to transform them into opportunities for growth, character development, and spiritual elevation. Life is not always smooth, and the tests we face are not always easy to bear. Sometimes it feels as if the weight of our problems is too much for us to carry. In such moments, patience and trust become the anchors that keep us steady amidst the storms. Patience is more than just waiting. It is the conscious decision to remain steadfast while facing difficulties. It is the effort to continue walking the path of righteousness, even when circumstances are unfavorable. Patience is resisting anger when others wrong us, staying calm when situations are beyond our control, and maintaining faith when the outcome is uncertain. It is an active form of perseverance, a discipline of the heart, and a demonstration of our reliance on Allah. When we practice patience, we align ourselves with the divine plan, understanding that challenges are temporary and that relief and reward await those who remain steadfast. Trust in Allah is the other essential component. Trust is knowing, deep in our hearts, that Allah is aware of our situation, that He is in control, and that His wisdom is perfect. Trust is not a passive feeling, it is a conscious surrender to the will of Allah. When we truly trust Him, we do not despair, we do not panic, and we do not try to control every aspect of our lives. Instead, we take the necessary actions within our ability, and leave the outcome to Allah, confident that He will guide us to what is best. Trust and patience work hand in hand. Patience allows us to endure, while trust allows us to remain hopeful and confident that Allah is taking care of us even when we cannot see the full picture. The beauty of patience and trust is that they transform trials into sources of strength. Every difficulty we face becomes an opportunity to grow spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. For example, when we face a personal setback, such as a loss, a failure, or a disappointment, patience helps us process the situation calmly rather than react impulsively. Trust reminds us that there is a purpose behind the trial and that we are not abandoned. Over time, this combination builds resilience, fortitude, and a deep understanding of our own capabilities and limitations. It allows us to rise above challenges rather than be defeated by them. Furthermore, patience and trust teach us humility and reliance on Allah. When we understand that we cannot control everything, we are reminded to turn to Him in prayer, to seek His guidance, and to place our reliance fully in His hands. This connection strengthens our spirituality as we learn to submit to His wisdom and to find peace in His decree. It also prevents us from becoming arrogant or self-reliant in ways that disconnect us from the divine source of strength. Trusting Allah is an acknowledgement that He knows what we do not, and patience is the expression of our faith in His plan. Together, they create a mindset that is unshakable even in the face of adversity. One of the practical ways to cultivate patience and trust is to reflect on past experiences where difficulties eventually led to relief, growth, or unexpected blessings. When we look back on our own lives, we often realize that the struggles we once thought were unbearable became stepping stones for something greater. These experiences remind us that patience and trust are not abstract concepts. They are proven paths to overcoming trials and transforming challenges into opportunities. Reflecting on these lessons strengthens our belief in Allah's promise and motivates us to continue practicing patience and trust in current and future trials. Another important aspect is the role of prayer and supplication. Patience and trust are complemented by seeking Allah's help through sincere prayers. When we communicate with Allah, express our worries, and ask for His guidance, we strengthen our connection to Him and reaffirm our reliance on His wisdom. Prayer is a reminder that we are not alone in our struggles, that divine support is always available, and that our endurance is guided by a higher power. Through consistent prayer, patience becomes easier to maintain and trust becomes more deeply rooted in our hearts. Patience and trust also influence our behavior toward others. When we are patient, we are more compassionate, forgiving, and understanding. When we trust Allah, we become less judgmental, more generous, and more willing to support others in their struggles. These qualities not only benefit us individually, but also positively impact our families, communities, and relationships. We become sources of encouragement, hope, and strength for those around us, reflecting the transformative power of patience and trust in action. Ultimately, patience and trust change our perspective on life itself. They teach us that hardships are not punishments but opportunities, that delays in relief are part of a divine plan, and that every challenge carries lessons and blessings hidden within it. When we practice patience and trust consistently, we begin to face life's trials with confidence, peace, and optimism, knowing that each difficulty has a purpose and that Allah's mercy is always near. Relief may be delayed, but it is guaranteed for those who remain steadfast. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the most profound lessons that life teaches us is patience in the waiting. Often, When we face trials, we hope for an immediate solution, an instant change, or a quick relief. We may pray, we may seek help, and we may take every possible action within our power, yet the relief we desire does not come right away. In such moments, it is easy to feel discouraged, frustrated, or even to lose hope. But Allah, in His infinite wisdom and mercy, reminds us that relief is always guaranteed for those who remain steadfast, who persevere in patience, and who continue to trust in Him. The reality of life is that nothing is permanent except the divine promise. Hardship may seem prolonged, but it is never everlasting. There is a divine order, a perfect timing, and a plan beyond our understanding. The verse, so truly, with hardship there is relief, reminds us that every trial, no matter how long or difficult, carries with it the certainty of ease. This ease may come in unexpected ways, through people, opportunities, or circumstances that we had not anticipated. The key is to remain steadfast, to hold on to faith, and to trust that Allah's plan is always perfect, even when it feels delayed. Steadfastness requires patience and consistency. It is not merely waiting for relief to arrive, but actively maintaining a positive mindset, continuing to do good deeds, and preserving our relationship with Allah during times of difficulty. Sometimes the delay itself serves a purpose. It may be a test of our sincerity, our resilience, and our reliance on Allah. The process of waiting strengthens our character, deepens our faith, and teaches us lessons that we could not have learned otherwise. When we understand that relief is guaranteed, we no longer see the waiting period as punishment, but as a phase of growth and preparation for something greater. Life is filled with examples of people who endured long periods of hardship, yet ultimately experienced relief in ways they could never have imagined. Consider the stories of the prophets who faced immense trials, persecution, and suffering, yet remained steadfast in their faith and trust in Allah. Their relief did not always come immediately, but when it came, it was abundant, transformative, and far exceeded their expectations. Their patience and steadfastness became a source of inspiration for generations to come. Likewise, in our own lives, relief may be delayed, but it is never denied to those who remain committed to faith and trust in Allah. Understanding this principle changes the way we perceive difficulties. When we accept that relief may be delayed, we learn to manage our expectations, reduce anxiety, and develop resilience. We stop demanding immediate results and instead focus on consistent effort, prayer, and reliance on Allah. This mindset prevents despair and frustration, replacing them with hope, perseverance, and a calm heart. We begin to see that even in moments of delay, there is hidden blessing, opportunity, and divine wisdom guiding our path. Another aspect to consider is the role of gratitude during the waiting period. Even when relief seems distant, recognizing and appreciating the blessings we still have helps maintain a positive perspective. Gratitude reminds us that Allah's mercy is ever present, that He has already provided for us in countless ways, and that the eventual relief is part of a greater plan for our well-being. When patience, steadfastness, and gratitude work together, they create an inner peace that sustains us through even the longest and most challenging trials. Moreover, steadfastness in the face of delayed relief teaches us humility. We realize that we are not in complete control of our circumstances and that our understanding is limited. This humility brings us closer to Allah, strengthens our supplications, and encourages us to seek His guidance consistently. By acknowledging our dependence on the Most Merciful, we develop a deeper spiritual connection and a more profound sense of trust in His wisdom and timing. It is also important to remember that delayed relief does not mean denied relief. Just because the solution has not appeared yet does not mean it will never come. Every moment of waiting is an opportunity for growth, reflection, and preparation. Sometimes, the delay allows us to acquire the strength, knowledge, or resources needed to fully benefit from the relief when it arrives. The waiting period, therefore, becomes an integral part of the process, shaping us into better, stronger, and more patient individuals. Finally, delayed relief teaches us empathy and compassion. When we experience the difficulty of waiting ourselves, we become more understanding of others who are enduring trials. We can offer encouragement, support, and reassurance, reminding them of Allah's promise that relief is guaranteed. In this way, our patience and steadfastness not only benefit us, but also allow us to positively impact the lives of those around us. Certainly, here's an expanded version of keynote No 4 in about 800 words. Memorizing and reflecting on the verse changes perspective on life's challenges. My dear brothers and sisters, there is incredible power in the words of Allah. Each verse of the Qur'an carries guidance, mercy, and wisdom, but some verses have the ability to transform our hearts and minds when we truly internalize them. The verse, "So truly, with hardship there is relief," is one such verse. When we memorize it, when we repeat it, and when we reflect deeply upon its meaning, it does more than comfort us. It fundamentally changes the way we perceive difficulties, obstacles, and challenges in life. The act of memorization is not simply an intellectual exercise. It is a way of embedding divine truth into our hearts, making it a living reality that shapes our daily thoughts, actions, and reactions. Memorizing this verse allows it to become a constant companion. In moments of fear, anxiety, or uncertainty, the words come to mind naturally, reminding us of Allah's promise. When a problem seems overwhelming, recalling the verse anchors our hearts in hope and patience. It reminds us that hardship is not the end of the story, and that relief is certain, even if we cannot see it immediately. This repetition reinforces faith and creates a mental habit of turning to Allah's wisdom instead of dwelling on despair or frustration. The mind and heart become aligned with divine guidance, and the challenges we face no longer appear insurmountable. Reflection is the second key element. Memorizing the verse is only part of the process. We must also ponder its meaning and implications. What does it truly mean that relief accompanies hardship? How does this promise apply to my life, my struggles and my challenges? By reflecting on these questions, we begin to see our difficulties not as random events or punishments, but as part of a divine plan designed to guide, refine, and strengthen us. Reflection allows the verse to move from being mere words to being a living, breathing truth that influences our perspective, decisions, and behavior. When we internalize this verse through memorization and reflection, we also develop a sense of optimism and resilience. Challenges that once felt overwhelming become opportunities for growth, learning, and spiritual elevation. We begin to approach problems with a mindset that looks for solutions, seeks understanding, and anticipates eventual relief. Instead of panicking or giving in to despair, we maintain calmness and composure, knowing that our efforts are not in vain and that Allah's mercy is near. This perspective transforms the emotional and psychological impact of hardships, allowing us to navigate life's trials with confidence and hope. Another important aspect is the ability to use this verse as a source of guidance and reassurance for others. When we understand and internalize its meaning, we can remind friends, family, and even strangers who are facing difficulties that relief is guaranteed. Sometimes a single verse, when shared at the right moment, can uplift someone who feels hopeless or lost. By memorizing and reflecting upon it ourselves, we equip ourselves to become a source of comfort and encouragement for others. In this way, the power of the verse multiplies, not only transforming our own lives, but also impacting the lives of those around us. Memorization and reflection also strengthen our spiritual connection with Allah. Repeating and pondering over this verse becomes a form of worship, a way of aligning our hearts with divine wisdom, and a reminder of Allah's constant presence in our lives. It encourages us to turn to prayer, supplication, and gratitude, reinforcing the bond between the believer and the Creator. When the verse lives in our hearts, it reminds us to be patient, to trust in Allah, and to seek His guidance in all matters, transforming our approach to both challenges and blessings. Moreover, this verse teaches us the importance of perspective. Life is filled with ups and downs, successes and failures, joys and sorrows. By internalizing the promise that relief accompanies hardship, we learn to maintain balance in our emotional responses. We are neither overwhelmed by difficulties nor complacent in ease. Instead, we develop a measured approach, understanding that every situation has both challenges and relief, trials and mercy. This balanced perspective reduces stress, anxiety, and frustration, allowing us to make better decisions and live with greater peace of mind. The process of memorizing and reflecting also instills discipline. It requires consistency, attention, and sincerity. We train our hearts to hold on to divine truth even when circumstances seem discouraging. This practice builds resilience, strengthens our faith, and empowers us to face future challenges with confidence. The verse becomes a tool for spiritual and emotional development, guiding us to live in alignment with Allah's wisdom and promises. Finally, internalizing this verse encourages hope and gratitude simultaneously. We hope for the relief that Allah has promised, and we are grateful for the lessons and opportunities embedded in the hardship itself. Gratitude allows us to see even trials as blessings, and hope motivates us to endure with patience and perseverance. Together, they create a powerful mindset that transforms how we experience life's challenges, making hardship not a source of despair, but a pathway to growth, faith, and eventual relief. Certainly, here's an expanded version of keynote no 5, in about 800 words. Sharing this message can inspire and comfort others who are struggling. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the most beautiful aspects of faith is that it is not meant to be kept to ourselves. The blessings, wisdom, and guidance we receive from Allah are intended to be shared, not hoarded. When we encounter a verse like "So truly, with hardship there is relief," it is not only for our own comfort and understanding, but also for the benefit of those around us. Life is full of people who are silently struggling, people who feel hopeless, overwhelmed, or burdened by challenges. By sharing this divine message, we can bring light into their lives, encouragement to their hearts, and hope to their minds. When we share such a message, we become instruments of Allah's mercy. Sometimes a single word, a single verse, or a reminder can change the course of someone's day, week, or even life. People may be facing challenges that we cannot fully comprehend, and our gentle reminders of Allah's promises can provide the reassurance they desperately need. Sharing this message does not always require grand gestures. It can be as simple as a kind word, a text message, a phone call, or even a quiet conversation with someone who is struggling. Every effort counts, and Allah rewards those who spread hope and encouragement. The act of sharing this verse also strengthens our own faith. When we speak words of hope and encouragement, we are reminded of their truth ourselves. Teaching and comforting others helps us internalize the message more deeply, reinforcing patience, gratitude, and trust in Allah. As we encourage others, we also remind ourselves that relief is always promised and that our hardships are temporary. The cycle of sharing, teaching, and reflecting creates a positive chain reaction of hope and faith within our communities. Furthermore, sharing this message helps create supportive and compassionate communities. When people are reminded that hardships are accompanied by relief, they are less likely to judge others harshly, more likely to be patient with one another, and more willing to offer help and support. This builds a network of empathy, kindness, and spiritual strength, where individuals lift each other up rather than leaving one another to struggle alone. A community that understands this truth becomes resilient, encouraging, and full of mutual support, fostering an environment where both trials and triumphs are met with faith and compassion. Sharing this message is also a form of charity, a time sadaqah *, because it uplifts hearts and brings comfort to those in distress. Allah loves those who spread goodness, encouragement, and hope. When we remind someone that relief follows hardship, we are not merely offering words of comfort, we are delivering a part of divine guidance, a source of spiritual strength that has the power to transform their mindset and their approach to life. Every effort to inspire, encourage, or uplift another person is multiplied in reward, and the impact can extend far beyond what we see in the immediate moment. The importance of sharing this message becomes even clearer when we consider the isolation many people feel during their struggles. Often, individuals bear their burdens silently, thinking that no one understands or cares. A reminder of this verse can break through that isolation, letting them know that they are not alone, that their struggles are acknowledged, and that relief is promised. This sense of connection and reassurance can have a profound effect, reducing feelings of despair, depression, and anxiety. The simple act of sharing hope can be life-changing, offering a perspective shift that empowers someone to keep going and to remain steadfast in faith. In addition, sharing this verse encourages others to cultivate patience and trust in Allah. When we convey the message that relief is guaranteed, people are reminded to be steadfast, to persevere, and to rely on Allah rather than becoming overwhelmed by fear or frustration. This encourages personal growth, emotional resilience, and spiritual development. It teaches individuals that hardships are not meaningless, that patience is rewarded, and that trust in Allah brings strength and peace. By sharing the message, we help others develop tools that they can use for the rest of their lives to face challenges with hope and confidence. Another aspect of sharing this message is its ripple effect. One act of encouragement can inspire the person receiving it to share it with others. In this way, hope spreads exponentially. Families, friends, and communities can become interconnected through the simple yet powerful reminder that Allah's mercy is always present and that relief always follows hardship. This ripple effect magnifies the impact of a single verse, creating a culture of support, faith, and compassion that extends far beyond our immediate circle. Finally, sharing this message aligns with the broader mission of bringing people closer to Allah. When we encourage others with the words of the Qur'an, we are pointing them toward divine guidance, strengthening their connection with their Creator and reminding them of the wisdom and mercy inherent in Allah's plan. It is a reminder that every trial carries meaning, every hardship has purpose, and every believer has the opportunity to find strength, hope, and relief through faith. By sharing this, we help others navigate life's difficulties with courage and trust, empowering them to face challenges with a heart rooted in hope and guided by divine wisdom.